Welcome to the Crusader Kings 2 Monarch Academy. In this series, we're going to introduce you to the game of Crusader Kings 2 and teach you all of the ins and outs you need to know to play successfully and effectively. It's a very complex game, but its complexity is outweighed by how rewarding it is once you finally get a handle on it. For this first video, we're going to focus on the very basics. What is CK2, how do I interact with it, and what should my goals be? Though you can start at many different dates throughout history, we're starting this game on the 15th of September 1066, in the middle of the Norman invasions, and we're playing as Duke William the Bastard of Normandy, one day to become, in actual history, King William the Conqueror of England. Whether he does or not in the version of the Middle Ages created by your playthrough of Crusader Kings 2, is up to your actions and the actions of other characters. Also keep in mind that we're playing with all of the DLCs enabled. There will be certain features you'll see that you might not have access to if you're missing a certain DLC, but we'll try our best to call those out when it's relevant. Now the first thing you should really get used to when you start playing CK2 is the fact that while you are technically playing a character, this guy right here, what you're actually playing is a succession of characters tied to a dynasty. Looking at the dynasty screen, you can see all the members of your dynasty, how many of them exist total in the game world, and how many are still alive. When your character inevitably dies, which they will through the ravages of time, battle, and/or disease, you'll pick up playing as their heir. But if there is no remaining heir of your dynasty, that means it's game over. So in the broadest possible way, you're playing for the success and continuation of your dynasty. You have to think kind of like Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. Any individual is ultimately disposable. The name and the banner are what matters. Now there are many ways to lead your dynasty to ascendancy. You can do it by purely conquering more land. Although in Crusader Kings 2, you'll need something called a casus belli before you can declare war, which we'll discuss in a later video. You can't just say start as the Holy Roman Empire and declare war on every kingdom in sight until your big white blob stretches to every corner of the map. Especially when declaring war on people of your same religion, which is going to be fairly common if you're playing in the middle of Catholic Europe or the Muslim North Africa and Middle East. You'll need to have a damn good reason for going to war. War isn't the only way to gain prestige, though. You can also marry your way into inheriting large pieces of land. For example, if I was the King of France and I married the daughter of the Kaiser of the Holy Roman Empire, he doesn't actually have any right now, and he died and his daughter and I had a child, that child could become heir to both the Holy Roman Empire and France, potentially uniting the two realms without ever fighting a single battle. You can also use such marriages to put members of your dynasty onto other thrones. So even though you might not control all of Europe directly, your dynasty potentially could, similar to what happened with the Habsburgs. You can also focus on having a smaller, more centralized realm that focuses on being a center of technology. And you can build buildings to improve what holdings you have, making your small realm more powerful without actually having to spread out and playing more of a tall game. If you have the latest DLC, the Reapers do, this is expanded even further with your ability to set crown focuses and bring prosperity to your provinces. You'll mostly interact with the game world through clicking on the map, the screens for your character and other characters, the character interaction menu, and the various specialized menus that we will go over in future videos. There's a lot to learn, but one important thing to remember is that the most important issues facing your kingdom will almost always be put front and center in the form of these pop-ups at the top of the screen. If you see one of these up here, it means there's something you can or should address to help your realm and your dynasty succeed. It's fully possible to start a game of CK2 not having any idea what you're doing, and just figure out the very basics of keeping your realm stable by paying attention to these pop-ups and following them to other menus where tooltips will give you hints on what to do next. You'll also want to get familiar with the various map modes. Terrain will just show you the world as it is with all the pretty trees and mountains and such. The political map mode will show you all independent realms, and you can control-click on it to see vassals of those realms. Control right-click to go back to the top-level liege. The religion map mode will show you the religions of the world, and when you click on a specific religion, it will highlight holy sites of that religion in this whitish color here. Holding holy sites is important, and we'll explain why later. The culture map mode shows you the various cultures of Europe. Culture can have a large effect on gameplay, including what kinds of special troops you're allowed to raise, and whether or not the people you have just conquered will submit to your rule peacefully or get a little bit rebellious. The economy map mode shows the general wealth of different areas of the world over others, as well as the Silk Road trade route, which we might cover later in a more advanced video. The de jure map modes show areas of the world that are meant to be historically united realms. If there isn't a kingdom there already, you can potentially form it by grabbing enough land. For example, here's the de jure kingdom of Lithuania, as it should be in terms of the de jure realm, and here's what it actually looks like. If I were to start as one of these Lithuanian rulers here and unite all of this land, I could become the king of Lithuania, even though that kingdom does not exist in 1066. Same goes for empires, which are a step up from kingdoms, and are the ultimate title that you can eventually form if you become powerful enough and gain enough land. Revolt risk will tell you where rebellions are likely to pop up. The Dynasty map mode shows you which dynasties rule over which countries. The Opinion map mode will tell you what other rulers' general opinion of you are. Those who share your religion generally will have a more positive opinion, whereas those who do not will not like you as much. The Direct Vassals map mode will break the political map up into the next smallest subunit available for each realm. Trade zones are mainly important for merchant republics, and we'll go over that in a later video. The government type map mode splits the world up into feudal, tribal, nomadic, and Iqta, which is a Muslim government form, as well as theocracies and merchant republics. Each type of government plays a little bit differently. Theocracies currently aren't playable at all, and we'll go over each of them in time. The Defensive Pact map mode, if you have Defensive Pacts turned on, shows if there are currently any pacts being formed between threatened nations to oppose a large, quickly expanding nation. And finally, the Epidemics map mode tells you if there are any disease epidemics currently spreading across the map. At the beginning of 1066, thankfully, there are not. That should give you a basic idea of what Crusader Kings 2 is, how to read the map, and all of its different map modes. Generally, most players play with the Realms map mode turned on, as it's the most informative at a glance in terms of political issues, and got you thinking about all of the different screens and options we're going to go over in future videos. Until next time, thank you for attending Monarch Academy.